Call this hearing to order. Welcome. This is our first hearing this Congress of the Subcommittee on Consumer Protection, Product Safety, and Data Security. Delighted to be doing this work and for the opportunity to work closely with Ranking Member Blackburn. I'd like to wish her a happy birthday week. I think it was a couple days ago, but we celebrated in our family the whole week as your birthday week. I look forward to working with Senator Blackburn and make sure that this is a bipartisan effort to make progress on issues that are within the jurisdiction of this subcommittee, ranging from strong privacy protections for all Americans, strengthening our data security of connected devices that we depend on every day, identifying safe guardrails for emerging uses of artificial intelligence. I think that'll get a lot of attention. And obviously, so much more. With every step we take, we're always going to try to keep hardworking Americans living their lives, make sure that as consumers, they are first in our mind. Today, we're going to discuss increasing price transparency for consumers within the marketplace, writ broadly, all the marketplaces. We all know that junk fees can be frustrating for consumers when they shop for products and for services. They raise costs, and in many cases, they create confusion. But what does a junk fee look like? How does it feel? Simply put, these are fees that are disclosed to a consumer midway through or at the end of a transaction. Or they're fees that serve no tangible purpose for a consumer, like a processing fee, and that they are mandatory or unavoidable. The Council of Economic Advisors, the CEA, has found that junk fees limit the ability of consumers to comparison shop between service providers and reduce competition between merchants. Companies need to give consumers the transparency they deserve when they shop for goods or services. Price transparency allows for consumers to see the total price for a product or service from the get-go so they don't feel deceived. Allows for the consumer to see additional service charges that add to the overall price up front, but so they're not midway or at the end of a transaction when they find out about it. Behind me, we have a common example of purchasing a ticket for an event. On the first row, the ticket price displayed is $140 plus fees. No way to see or understand what the fees are until you go through the checkout process. Oh, I've ripped the wrong paper. Anyway, here we see an almost there transparency or example of how upfront and all-in transparency looks. All the fees are listed below the actual ticket price. Compared with the first example, imagine trying to buy tickets for a family of 6, and the total cost ends up being almost $200 more than advertised. Here's an example. It's not really ripping. Of total upfront pricing where you'll pay at checkout, where it's displayed before you even select the ticket. This way, consumers are informed with the crystal clear price that they'll pay for the product or service at checkout and not a penny more. Last month, we had the pleasure of discussing methods to increase price transparency for consumers with the director of the National Economics Council, Dr. Lael Brainerd. Today, we're going to continue that conversation by hearing from our witness panel, and I hope and believe this will continue that effort. By working together, we can fairly promote the upfront all-in pricing across all sectors. Already bipartisan legislation has been introduced to increase price transparency for consumers in certain sectors. Surely more legislation is on the horizon. Senators are going to have the chance to discuss those efforts today. As a former small business owner, I experienced firsthand the many obstacles one encounters in opening a new brew pub or new restaurant or literally any small business. Small businesses up and down Main Street live and breathe on fair competition in order to keep the lights on and in order to serve their customers, deliver what their customers desire. Today, large companies use their market advantage to force customers into paying fees that were not expected or simply unavoidable. Consumers' pockets and small businesses suffer as a result. Businesses need to play by the same rules to create a level playing field that gives everyone an equal chance to compete fairly. And I think consumers will always be the major beneficiaries of such a system. As our economy continues to recover from the pandemic, we need to ensure American consumers have the information to make every dollar count. Let's be clear about what this hearing is not about. It's not about setting price caps for products or services. It's not about telling private companies how they should operate their business. I'd like to welcome each of our witnesses who are joining us today. Sally Greenberg, the CEO for the National Consumers League. Todd Zawicki, Professor of Law, George Mason University, Antonin Scalia Law School. And on Zoom, Vicki Morwitz, Professor of Business, Columbia Business School.